Good evening. Can everybody hear me online? Okay, cool. We'll start in just a few minutes. We're still setting up. We had, like always, some technical difficulties. Here's your microphone, Lisa. I'm wondering, yeah, you could use. To run the on-site audio. This typically presents my problem.
Okay, my intro, that's
Okay.
about the announcement.
There was a Jake around here.
So.
Did you share that out?
Teacher. So, blur the stick was from, okay, I want to show those before Lisa starts. Okay. Because we're gonna have a little introduction. Do you want to unhand or hers? Whatever is worse. Is it okay with you here? It was just like, yeah, the right, oh, let's say it works. You know, ours is pretty long. So the I here, you know, back, bear with it. Come in, sure,
Who's gonna be doing the announcements, Laura?
No.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. It's nice. I just. Right, you just want this tonight? Pardon me? It's a night, correct? Yep. And Bob? And this is a new to me computer, so I think JJ, or just hit slideshow for me. Like, you want me to go through it? Yeah. Yeah. And Bob, how is it looking?
Yeah, great. Why are you trying to avoid this?
Okay.
Yeah, the most side of the speaker is
Okay.
not my favorite place to be. Yeah. I know what you mean. I'm the slide.
And Bob, does it work okay when we turn off the lights for viewing? Okay. Okay.
Have her log into the Zoom and have her share it up. Right. So she would have to join too.
Yeah, you have to log in.
Yep.
Jim, you still have the link?
I think I can find it.
Let's play a game while we're waiting.
No,
What's the name of the plan?
Linda, maybe we had better just introduce our new board members.
We're ready now.
I think. Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
As you know, we are working on having hybrid meetings, and that means coordinating this with that, with us. And we're not quite here. So Linda is our new Wild Ones and our area chapter program. And she is going to, while we get things all lined up for our speaker so we can zoom it out, Linda is going to introduce our new board members.
I am. And by that, I'm going to read name tags and they're going to tell you what they do.
So if all the board members and Janet, if you would come up as webmaster as well. And Dina and Bob is working away over there. So, yeah. Okay, good.
So I'm the new president. So just bear with me over the next year. I've got a lot of exciting things that come to you in the background. Oh, I hear my feedback. Yeah, it's like, a second. Hello? Hello?
That's hard.
Echo. So with that, I'm going to pass the baton to Dina, and she will tell you what she's gonna do. Then we'll go to Susan, then we'll go to Janet. We all know Laura. Anybody else want to? Yes.
And I'm not sure what to do about that.
Feel free to turn down on this thing.
Yeah, they're big. Really bad, big.
Found themselves.
I got some cute pictures.
Doris, say something so we can.
Okay, much better.
Yeah.
All right,
Do you want?
Dina. Hi, Dina.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dina Lehman Kim, and I have the pleasure of being a new director at large, and I will take my marching orders from the board. Thank you.
The rest of the board.
Was lovely. I'm Susan Margocious, and I'm the new secretary. So I'm going to be taking it on after Meg has been doing such a lovely job for the past few years. She's going up to national, right?
She has been on national and now she has added responsibilities.
Lovely. Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Janet Max. I was membership coordinator a couple of years ago, and now I'm mainly focused on the website and also communications. And what you may have already guessed from communication recently, we're transitioning to a really nice mass email system. So instead of getting multiple emails from lots of individuals, you're going to get like single emails from Wild Ones Communications.
Yes. Hi, I'm Laura Stamero, and I am the vice president this year and program planning chair.
Need I say who I am for the 8th time, but my name is Linda Berardi, and I am the president of Ann Arbor Area Wild Ones. And if I were a wild native plant, I'd be a compass plant.
Hi, I'm Joy Jacobs. I also go by JJ. I'm the membership chair for the organization, and I'm hoping this year to help provide infrastructure so we can get a lot more younger blood in the next coming years.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Very great.
And Bob, is this working in terms of Zoom? Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Are we good? All right. Sort of good. Okay. 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 All right. Well, we are getting our ducks in a row. Our January program was postponed until June. And so be looking for notifications about that. As Janet Max identified, you will be getting at probably the first weekend of every month or a few days prior to our second Wednesday of the month meeting, you will be getting a little reminder newsletter. And what you look for in the sender is Wild Ones Communications. And the title of the message will have Ann Arbor Area Wild Ones across the top. So you will all should have gotten that notification on Monday about 10:30. And this will be the way that we'll be primarily communicating with you instead of getting lots of emails sort of bouncing around all over the place. So before we begin, it's not what? You know what? So you ready?
I think I still need to sign on to Zoom.
Oh, yeah, that'll be important.
Oh, where's our tech person? Did she connect? Did you connect me with Zoom?
I did.
Oh, okay, we're good then.
Yep.
All right, and is there anything else you want to say in your presentation?
Just run my slide. Notice about events coming up in March. We have 5 or 6 committees. And so every month you'll be getting notices about where we need volunteers. And this is a kind of an alert for 2 dates in March. And one is at the WAM conference in Lansing for the Wildflower Association of Michigan. And the other is for the other one is for the Bluebird Festival which is at Washtenaw Community College, and that's, I think it's the 28th of March. And you can take a quick shot here to get that information, but it will also be coming to you again in the next e-blast. And the other thing I wanted to mention, and this is very timely, because the Seeds to Community is having its second winter sowing on February 21st and 22nd at Mathi, and we had a wonderful event in January, 2 days. I think about 700, 800 jugs of seedlings went out. And it is a part of the Seeds to Community program, which is a partner program of ours, which is about reciprocity with nature and with each other, with community, and working together to collect and sow, clean and sow and share seeds and share native plants and getting those out to the community. It doesn't cost anything, although there is a suggested donation when you participate. And we invite everyone, no matter if you just don't even know anything, to come and try it. And so all you have to do is register for these dates. We also need, and this is really important for Wildlands people, we provide to the core team. Jonathan is here tonight. He's the brainchild, brain adult, really, brain adolescent of this project, and he has a wonderful core team of about 5 people. And the Wildlands members provide, I don't want to say expertise, although we have a lot of really expert members, but you don't have to be expert. You just have to be familiar with the value of native plants and have an interest in native plants. And you have to have maybe even just a little bit of experience with native plants. And we invite you to come and help people who are brand new to the experience, native plant newcomers and call them, to help pick out seeds and maybe talk about their yards a little bit. So we encourage you to sign up. We always can use volunteers, and the dates for those signups are there. So you will not get another notice about the February 21st and 22nd sign up between now and then. So take note, but there are some other dates coming out. So that is all I have for you tonight, and thank you. And we will get this all smoothed out. So thank you very much. So we have Lisa, who drove on down from Wayne County. Lisa is a lifelong gardener, and she is one of the founders of the Wild Ones Wayne County, Michigan chapter. And she got her biology degree from Eastern Michigan University, and she has worked as an environmental educator and master rain garden instructor. She enjoys supporting others in creating meaningful wildlife and wild-friendly landscapes. Tonight, she will help us look at the yards and gardens and landscapes which we tend in order to be in closer relationship with the nature that is all around us. So thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. I am going to get my presentation back online. And my apologies, this is a new computer for me. Can everyone see my presentation? Oh, it's missing a picture, but that's okay. All right. So, all right, as Laura said, my name is Lisa Dennis, and I was one of the co-founders for Wild Ones Wayne County. Kind of reluctantly, I wanted there to be a Wild Ones in Wayne County because I had been working with people to help them with the rain garden. And I'd say, oh, you got to go get native plants, they're the best. And then we didn't have any, good resources for them to learn more about native plants. So some people say, oh, it was my baby, but actually it was Bob's baby. So I was just a surrogate until he had more time on his hands. Okay, so tonight I'm gonna kind of talk things through the seasons. And so we're actually gonna start with spring. And then move on to summer, fall, and then we'll end with winter. And then if you have any questions, we'll do that. So this is just, I guess, call out the species in these pictures. This is tiger swallowtail on cut plant.
We're still seeing the seeds of community.
Oh, okay, 1 moment. I will,
We need to switch the sharing to the other presentation.
oh, okay.
Sorry about that. So when you go back to Zoom, it shares.
Well,
So, no, you don't have to close the PowerPoints. It's just when you go back to the Zoom here, right? Yeah, stop sharing. I do not like that. Now we're gonna go back up and we're gonna start sharing again. Okay, we're gonna start share screen again. And now you get to select the window. I'll just do the window, or you can do the entire, whatever you want.
oh yeah, I need the window.
I figured you might.
Okay. It's not giving me that option. Okay, there it is. Okay, can everybody see the screen where it's with the title, Living with the Seasons in a Native Landscape? I saw some thumbs up. Yeah. You can still see it okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I had to change my screen so I can see what slide I'm on. Okay, so to start again, tonight we're gonna talk about, our native landscaping through the seasons. So we're gonna touch on some points. There's some things that I just didn't cover because like, okay, you guys know that chickadees are hungry and they need lots of caterpillars. So I'm not gonna just rehash that. We'll just focus on other things. But so I try to come up with things that are not, I don't usually hear about in a lot of the presentations I do. So yes, so here's the tiger swallowtail again on some cup plant, one of my favorite plants. And then we're gonna go through spring, summer, winter, and then whatever questions you may have. All right, so my journey. So then I, like many people, did not start gardening with native plants. I actually started gardening with vegetable gardening and a few annual flowers with my granddad. And I do not remember a time when I did not garden. Like I don't have memories before me gardening. So since I was really little, but that's what he did. And it was funny because I was thinking about it and I never was told like, hey, you need to go. So I lived in Southwest Detroit. We had a garden. We had a smaller garden. He lived in Garden City. He had this huge garden, size of the math auditorium size garden. So in your case, yeah, I was thinking I never had to be told to go water the plants, go tend to the plants, go eat the tomatoes straight off the vine. I just did it. So yeah, I've always enjoyed gardening my entire life. And as I got older, I expanded to more flower gardening. And then I was taking classes at Eastern and I knew about invasive species and I knew about botany and plants, but I wasn't really even thinking about the plants that I was planting, so I was planting flowers. I knew none of them were invasive. But I wasn't focused on natives. I wasn't focused on wildlife. So then I saw this video with Brenda Sattler, Brenda, Butterfly Mom. So I saw this video and, it was a news thing talking about her and her butterflies. And then she had this group, Southeast Michigan Butterfly Association, and it was in Westland. I was living in Westland at the time. So, okay, I'll go join that group. So I joined that group. And that's where my path started leading me into natives. So, their focus is on pollinator gardening, but then a lot of the pollinator garden is native. You gotta plant the natives for the wildlife, which, of course, it makes sense. So that's where I got started with natives, and it's been wonderful ever since. All right, and let's see. Oh, one of my favorite plants. So that is Lobelia. I was coming up with Lobelia Ziphilis. I was coming up with both names, and then silver spot skipper. All right. So then, starting with spring, I was gonna start in winter and then decide, okay, let me just start in spring because I'll probably talk too much in here. All right. So spring equinox, March 20th. This one, you guys recognize this plant? This flower? Yes. So, so this is ragwort. It's a nice spring bloomer. And I will say I'm a little not sure on it because it is highly toxic to dogs and kids too, but then I don't have kids. So I worry about the dogs, but it is planted where they won't, the dogs are usually no one's there except for me. So I know not to eat it. So it's really important is to have go as early as possible with your spring blooms. Because if you go, so there's a Miller Nature Preserve by me in Plymouth. And it's really nice. There's lots of spring ephemerals. And you don't think of these early times, this early spring time, as being full of pollinators. But if you go to where they have lots of abundant spring ephemerals in bloom, then there's tons of pollinators. So willows are one of the earliest bloomers. And then, I think everyone always needs more spring ephemerals unless you already have them in you're adjacent to, you have wooded area on your property or something. And then some other perennials that are May and June. So I kind of think of it as its own separate season. You kind of have March, then you have April, and then May and June, you kind of, all your early things are kind of going back, and you kind of need some things that are going to hang on a little longer. So this ragwort seems to hang on pretty well. Penstemons are wonderful. The bees, I love watching the bees with their butts inside the penstemons. That's another one. Landsleaf coreopsis, I had that blooming from May until I guess like August or October. It was ridiculous. I still had one that was hanging on there, like popping up. So that's a really nice one. Jacob's ladder, that's another really nice one. Oh, so I should move forward because I think I have some pictures of some of these. So we have lots of insects and pollinators. So then so the things that you should be enjoying during that time is watch for the queens. Like watch for the queens. They're feeding. They're getting the materials. So the queens are doing all the work at that time to make their early nest. Their queen bees. I should say bees in case people are not in that. So yes, the queen bees are out there and they're getting the materials and they're getting their pollen and they're making their first nest. So then they can make their worker bee, give birth to the worker bees, and then they developed, and then you won't see any queens for a while, then you're going to have lots of bees coming out later on. Kind of some other spring activities is things to think about is like, okay, April 15th, if you're, that's generally the time that it's good to have if you feed the hummingbirds with a feeder, you should have your feeder out, but more importantly, go look around your yard and see what you have available for them. I think people always need more spring ephemerals and you always need more for the hummingbirds. So some of the wonderful hummingbird plants are red vine honeysuckle, which is shown here. And they also like the penstemons. And then I threw red cardinal flower in there, but, you know, just because this is also the time when you're getting ready for all your plant sales, so make sure you put those in your calendar. I encourage you to get more spring ephemerals if you can. You're gonna have to trust, so the first, sales might be late May, early June. By that time, the spring ephemerals are senesced. You just have to trust the plant growers, and I suggest you do that. You know, they're just gonna, here's this clump of dirt with maybe some straggly leaves on top. It's a spring ephemeral. Buy it, take it home, and you know, find a good spot for it, and then, yes, it's so wonderful. Okay, so then the other thing that I wanted to talk about is like when the spring hits, okay, we have all the nice things waking up. That's wonderful. We have the wildlife coming back. You know, you don't have to worry about, like, some people are like worried about the monarchs, stuff like that. The things are gonna kind of follow the when their host plant is available. Hopefully with climate change, that doesn't, you know, get disrupted. So then your curly everlasting, your pussy toes, those things are filling in. So you're gonna see your American lady butterflies. And then also a thing to think about in spring is that when there's like a heavy rain okay, it's an excellent time when there's melt and you can see where's the water puddling, or if you have a heavy rain, go around your house and see like where is this water coming down. Make sure you don't have like under your roof line, you can see if it's like a low spot that's ends up over there, if you have like little drips off your gutters. So that's like, take a sketch, take notes. Okay, I need, like, you can kind of start thinking about what you're going to be doing, where you're going to be planting all these plants, these tons of plants that you're going to be buying at all these plant sales. So yeah, things to think about. Where can I incorporate rain gardening? And if you have like a larger property that maybe has a wooded area, don't worry about filling every puddle, because we do have the vernal ponds that have berries in them. So, you know, it's something to think about. So the fairy shrimp, it's a species that I just learned about maybe a few years ago. That's endemic to vernal pools in Michigan. So really cool. So these are the spring, but around your home, if you know you don't have a vernal pool, if you're on a regular residential area with everything mowed, then start think about areas where's that water running, so you can, number one, keep it from going to your house, and number two, don't let it go down the drain. Like, that's free water. So yeah, something to think about. So here are some of the nice spring blooms that I had mentioned. Well, this is reticulated trillium, red reticulated trillium, I believe. And then we have the landscape coreopsis, and we have Dutchman's britches. Loving the Jacob's ladder, and it has such gorgeous foliage for the rest of the year. So, and it's just, that's a nice little bushy one too. So if you are looking for those appeasable, you know, things that appeal to your neighbors, that's a great one for that. So I feel like I need a pointer or something. Okay, so then we have the wild geranium and the strawberries, and then we had the red buds, and those are all great plants, great for pollinators, great for things that want to eat the leaves. Great. Another spring activity that you could be looking at is cutting in your flower beds, or cutting in your beds, your garden beds. So whether it's lawn, whether you have dirt path, but just kind of defining that line of where that garden bed, like and when I say garden beds, I expect you have a garden, right next to it you have an adjacent thing is also a garden. You just maybe have, you know, a little bit different plants in that one, you know, so they're all kind of, I like things to mingle. I like my gardens to mingle. I like my plants to mingle. So yes, so, but on the areas that you have passed, or maybe if you wanted to find some space to, in between beds, to kind of like always have a focal point of where you're gonna look, then spring is a great time for that, you know? So, what you don't wanna do is you don't wanna clean up, and I hate that word, you know, you're not cleaning up, cause you're not cleaning anything, all you're doing is taking away, you know, the material that the birds need to make their nests. So, don't clean up. You might have to tidy just for, our aesthetics of, you know, human aesthetics for your neighbors, maybe for a family member, but try to leave things in place as much as possible. Break it, put it right down, where it's at, or if you could just leave things up, that would be. Thanks. Or if you can just leave things where they are, that is wonderful. So, if you're not familiar with cutting in, you're taking, if you have like a flat shovel, that's even better, but you just go around and you stomp along the edge where you want to add this line. One thing I like to do is if you've ever had call Miss Dig and you have the utility flag, I like to use that to like mark, here's my line, so I don't go off course. And I put some of the flags in, and you go in with a straight spade, knock it down 3 inches, and you don't have to do mulch, whatever material you have. If you have just leaves draped into your bed for the winter, you just try to leave, you leave like 3 inches down where it's not really soil, and that's gonna help maintain this line to where you don't have the grass or anything else kind of crossing your path as easily. So you'll do this every year, or you might even, you know, maybe if you have something across, you might need to touch stuff later, but it's really fun. It looks great. So yeah, if you're not cutting in and leaving a few inches where it's not dirt, you should start. Another thing I want to mention is that even like, say you have stones, I'm sorry, I'm moving around, is that bad? Even if you have, like stone pavers or something, you think, oh, you know, I can move these around, you know. I moved a stone paver. It was like a warm January day, and there was a bee hibernating under it, and it started to stir, and I'm like, you know, because now I got to put this paver down, and I'm worried about like, I don't want to crush the bee. So yeah, so it's too cold for things to move about. For the most part, you know, you might have some queens waking up, you might have a few that can tolerate the cold, but try not to disturb anything too much. You can cut your lines, but you don't want to disturb too much as far as like if you have, you know, pots sitting outside or pavers that you want to move. Hold off on those till it gets low. You know, for that one, maybe you can wait until it's like in the 50s, but let them wake up. All right. So, other things that you can do are targeting some of your invasive species. So there is a little give and take. So I'll say, hey, don't disturb anything, and I'll say like, oh, but disturb this. So sorry, conflicting messages, but you just have to use your best judgment. So some of the invasives are easy to spot, especially if you're new to gardening. Then okay, there's a bunch of green buckthorn. If you drive down Hines Drive, you can see all this green. Oh, it's all lush. It's all green. It's all buckthorn. So look around you know, some of the things first things that leap out, watch and see, check them out. It might be an invasive species, and you can take the opportunity to get rid of that. So here's another one. I have a list coming up, but I don't know if this one's on the list. All right, so then Siberian elm, really cute little plant. Beautiful color. It's terrible invasive. Get rid of it. Dig it out. So yeah, and then we have beautiful things that are even more beautiful, you know, that you can put instead of that. You can get to your spring ephemerals. This one, we have a picture of a sorry, I'm at a loss for words tonight. Virginia bluebells right here. So yeah, plant things like this, Virginia bluebells. and get rid of those. Right. Okay, so then I have a big old chart of things, and these are all, oops. So these are all best treatment timing. These are early spring, the summer, late spring. So then put this on your calendar. Put it on your calendar. Like, I'm going to kill things today. You know, like pick a day when you really want to blow off steam and go. These are the things that you want to kill. This is how to kill them. As far as the wildlife go, it's always best if you can use a non-chemical control. So if you learn about pesticides in Michigan, and they have courses from MSU, it's really, really informative, then one of the things that they always say is to try to have, they try to have the non-chemical option. So if you can do the non-chemical option, do the non-chemical option. If you have a huge field of an invasive species and you just have to use your best judgment to weigh what's the negative risk to pollinators versus the reward of restoring that space to something that the pollinators can use and other wildlife. So yeah, here's garlic mustard. I tried to look up a lot of ones in Washtenaw and some Wayne County. I know we had a lot of wild Wayne County wild ones that are still in this group. So yeah. Did anybody have any questions about anything? Oh, I could just hit the arrow. All right, so then here's another list. So then the last one was the herbaceous species. This one is your shrubs, vines, and ground cover. So it talks about, hey, winter creeper. Maybe some of these are in your neighbor's yard. Maybe they're not out yet in spring, or they're on vacation. You can just kind of get a little further from your property line. So yeah, the invasive honeysuckles, Japanese knotweed. So some things like this is the main thing you want to do, is that anything you want to treat, any weed that you think you have in your yard, make sure you ID it first. You don't want to pull out some native. I had this Pennsylvania pellitory, which if you're familiar with it, it's kind of ugly. It's kind of straggly, ugly thing. And so I'm like, okay, what is this? I was, this house, like I moved into this house and I had all these species I'm trying to ID before I do anything with, which is hard because there's lots of invasive species. So it's like, ID 9 things, they're all invasives. And then, like I get to this one, okay, it's native, it's kind of ugly. Like, should I keep it? Should I not keep it? So as I'm sitting there, like on my knee, in front of this plant, wondering, like, should I keep it? Then a red admiral butterfly flies by and starts laying egg right in front of me. Like, oh, silly thing. So what I did is I bought some annuals, quick color to like distract the eye. So when you're going through your yard, you're just like, hey, what's that focal point? If it's like, this is a really active space for watching the bees or the hummingbirds, but it's kind of ugly, just put some nice piece of art there, put a colorful chair there. So it's all about having that focal point. So. All right, so any questions about spring things? I'll move on to summer. Okay, so summer solstice, June 21st, longest day of the year in the northern hemisphere. Looking forward to that. Is anyone excited that it's light out at 6 p.m.? So I'm very excited about this. So yeah. So you have pink bloom, everything, like you have lots of stuff coming into bloom. So this is like you're getting past the June period where it's like things are starting to come. You're kind of waiting on your, like, okay, when's my milkweed gonna come in? You're like looking for that little sprout. Yeah, so then this is the time where it's just abundant. There's lots of things to enjoy. There's lots, sorry, take the mic away. I talk with my hands, so if anyone can't hear me, I apologize, because I don't know how to not talk with my hands. And so I moved the mic away. Okay, so peak blooms and overlapping flowers. There's lots of pollinators to check out. There's lots of pollinator behavior to watch. So, you know, some of the activities you can do in summer is like dividing and sharing your plants, which I'm always trying to do because it, you know, it's just so much. So then, and then noticing the caterpillars and little things like it's so hard to get anything done because I like know, hey, like who's this? Oh, there's a bite mark. What's going on here? So sorry, I changed computers and I couldn't find where my picture went, but let's see. So see how this is a moth. Do you see any lines on the back? Not really. We're not really there yet. So that's how, like, pretty much just came out of its egg, and it doesn't have the lines formed. So when you get those first lines in its first instar, so this is trying to think. They had the picture, and then we had the ruler in the trying to think how big it is, but it's just like it's like 4 millimeters, I would say. So, anyways, what they'll do is they'll like you'll see your milk bead, and it has this little tiny circle about the size of a dime, like shoot into the leaf. So if you see that, go check your plant. You find those little teeny tiny caterpillars, and they're so cute. Or check for eggs for that matter. So, yeah. And for you online, it's about dime size, and yes. All right. And oh shoot, what was your name again? So then here's a cute little thing. I think he was on. Did he have a computer paper? Anyways, you could, if you find little pupas, you can ID them. There's this cute little thing that came out. And then, oh, it doesn't show up very well. Okay, oops, sorry. Or just check out your bees, try to get photos. This one is so cute. It's not really showing up as well on here, I think, but it has just such a nice dusting of this light pollen. And then you can see like the same color pollen where it was like just in that hibiscus rosemel. Okay. So some other summer care, like this is more towards late summer. So I'd be more like late summer. So look for the sneaky allergy weeds like your ragworts or things in the amaranth species, amaranth family. Those are the ones that causes allergies. Those are the, you know, and there's lots of them, you don't really notice them, and they will bloom. And you know, those flowers will be blooming when it's mowed. 4 inches. So if you have a neighbor that says, oh, your flowers, they like cause me allergies, and they have a big mowed property, they might have some ragweed. So they might, if you have a big showy flower, you're not allergic to it unless you're sniffing the bee leaves. Like that's big sticky pollen and it's not floating in the air. So yes, if you tell your neighbor if they are complaining about the allergies from your flower garden, that you have to, if you plant big showy flowers, that's how you know that you don't have any allergen plants. Don't mention that some of the trees cause allergies too. All right, so yeah, so you can look for your amaranth species. And then some of the things that you're gonna need to start doing is putting up structures around some of your plants. It's also a good time. So like actually more, I should have put this in the spring. In the spring, if you have like say New England aster, love it, but it gets too tall for the spot you have it in. So I have some in the front, I have some in the back. I have really particular neighbors. So the one in the front, I cut it low. So I use the kind of saying knee high by the 4th of July, which I guess is supposed to be for corn. But I use that to remember to cut back some plants that I want to bloom a little shorter. So like your New England aster. So before the 4th of July. So yes, it is summer. Then yes, you can cut some of your plants that you want to keep them a little shorter, keep them a little tight here. And then for staking, so I love to do this. I have a neighbor, he has all these political signs, he has the cameras, he has like the face things, all this crazy stuff. Anyways, his political signs, when he puts them in the trash, I trash pick them, and then I pull the signs off, and then the wire that they're on, that is wonderful for a plant support. So I just go against a pole, put a nice round curve on it, and then I'll spray paint mine brown, and then use that as like just a wonderful thin support for your plants. So the end of summer, you know, be considerate of all the species. I know the yellow jackets, they're hangry and they're gonna wanna, you know, sting you if you get too close. Make sure you don't leave any open containers, but be considerate, you know, of this species, because it's getting tough. All right. So some of the summer blooms. So I'm not sure if this is native. It's kind of originally native. I'm not sure if it's native in like Green County or Washoe County. The blue mist flower. I tend to want to do things that are like this native in Wayne County. But blue mist flower, I get so many butterflies. They get so many skippers. They get so many sulfur. You know, this day it had monarch. What is that? Blue mist flower.
Oh, I was like, that's really familiar. I've got a ton of it.
Yes. So this is one that I do. As soon as it starts going to seed, I'll collect some of the seed, but I'll also cut it. So when I talk about cutting some plants that get a little tall, if you have time to, for the sake of the pollinators, if you have time to go and kind of like trim things out, you have like a smaller patch, you can trim it out, then do that. If it's too big of a patch that I don't have time to work on, you know, it's what's best for you. Then I take the hedge trimmers to it. So I'll take the hedge. I have this beautiful big patch of golden Alexander. It's one of my favorite plants. But it does get a little so when you're thinking about things to cut, along with things that just get too tall for you, you can also trim things that get a little leggy. So golden Alexander is one that gets a little leggy, so people don't like it as much, and I just trim back with the hedge trimmers because they have a big patch, or I, you know, break the stems down and leave them like right there in the spot. If I, you know, if I do it individually, if I have time, if not, I take the hedge trimmers to it. Another one that I love, it's not everybody's favorite. I think other people might have it. It's more common maybe in Washoe County and not so much in Wayne County, but the jewelweed. This jewelweed here. I think there's a yellow jewelweed too. Yeah, so the jewelweed, and this is one of my favorite like gardening areas. And I'll leave the Canada goldenrod, and then if I need that space, then it acts as a placeholder. But sometimes I will cut some of the seeds out, but I try to leave plenty for the birds. So yeah, the jewelweed, I think it's really cool, nice flower. Absolutely love the Lobelia syphilitica. With this, the blue Lobelia. One of my favorites because I love watching bee butts. Sorry, not sorry. All right. Okay, so summertime. So here's some of the things that you should be looking at to get rid of after when summer hits. So then every time, just always research what's the idea on that plant? What is the best pesticide And then also, please read the label and what like effect, like, some of the pesticides, they might be in the ground for 6 months. So you might not want to do that. You might want to sit there and, hand pull like everything individually, even if you have a big patch, you might want to try to, some of these other methods. So yeah, try to do a non-chemical control as your first option, and then if that's not going to be feasible, then they have some chemical controls. And so here's a little chart I did with some of the species common to Washoe, Wayne County, and then what they're trying to treat them. So what are some of the species, or some of the species you guys dealing with on here?
I've got a couple of ground covers that are invasive that they have, I can't remember the word now, but the root system, like they'll be a horizontal,
Oh,
and then the spikes.
rhizomes, the rhizomes are, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
one of them is very pretty. It's got huge green leaves and little white flowers, and it is the devil. And the roots go down easily 18 inch.
Oh, wow.
It's really awful.
You're saying it has white flowers?
Small white flower. I can't, I was trying to find it on my phone. I've got the name of it at home somewhere. I've got to figure it out because it just.
Yeah. So bindweed usually tries climbing up something. It tries fine. So one of the things that I don't know if it's on here. So with bindweed, you need to poison it, but I don't. Usually it's climbing up something I want. It's always climbing up something you love. So it's really difficult. So what I'll do is I'll take like one of the like a plant stake or something. I'll put a stick basically in the ground, and then I'll cut the majority back, but then I'll try to get that bindweed growing on that stick, and then I'll come back later and poison it when it's all alone. So
Did I understand correctly that you use the stick to have it grow up, and when you poison it, you're like, I understand you're trying to get it back into the root system. How are you poisoning it when it's around the stick? What do you do?
So you need the green leafy plant material, and then you're putting the poison on that. But because it doesn't have any structure on its own, then it's usually growing up something that you want to keep, So then if you put the stick in there, it'll grow up, it just wants to grow up something. So it'll grow up a tall stake or stick. And then that way you have it isolated away from your other plants, and then you can apply that herbicide and kill it.
How do you apply the herbicide? Do you spray it?
I do not spray usually. Usually I'll go out there with like a little sponge brush and sponge that on. Yeah. And I know Roundup, that is supposed to have less time in the soil than some of the other ones like trichlor. So then when you're looking at a plant, you ID the plant, if you want to get rid of it, you can't find it's not feasible to do a non-chemical method, then try to find like something that's going to be the best for your situation. I don't want anything that's going to stay in the soil 6 months because I'm going to be planting immediately. So yeah, give it a stake, give it a structure to grow up, and then you can use a sponge, or if you need to use a spray, if you have a lot of stuff, then what I'll do is I'll take if I have a garden bag or something, I will use that as a cover, that I can throw the bag away afterward. So then I block off any of my other plants from that, from getting any overspray. I try to be very cautious. But yeah, and then use a piece of cardboard, use a cover, that in the trash afterward, just so you don't get overspray. It's really easy to get overspray. One more thing I was gonna say, and I forgot what it was. Okay, it's not coming to me. All right, So here's your trees and shrubs. And let's see, trees, the buckthorn. So I have a friend that, I don't know if he's on the Zoom tonight. Anyways, he has this big area of buckthorn. So he's known about the buckthorn for about a year or something. Patrick Ford. I don't know if I'm supposed to name names, but I did. So too late. So Patrick Ford, he has this big area where he's adjacent to a wooded area. So then it has all this thorn. So then he was cutting it and treating it. On his package, it said to like mix a little diesel fuel, which sounds, like crazy to me. But you mix a little diesel fuel and it helps it get into the plant. So you want to make sure you use enough because you don't want to create resistant species that, survive it. Something like that, it acts as I think it's acting as a surfactant to like really get absorbed into it. So in any case, something to kind of research. He actually called the company to check on that. So diesel fuel. All right. And fall, things to enjoy. And as you can see, my friend, all full of pollen. Love it. So yeah. So then autumn equinox, September 22nd. So then this is time like you're like really this is kind of like the golden hour, like it's the time, like, I gotta get this done. So this is kind of the golden season. Like you have your activities you're doing, you have plans that you want to finish getting in. So yes, fall's a great time to do that. But what, it'd be really good to do is take some time to enjoy watching the finches and your seeds from your seed heads from your plants. Enjoy the late bloomers. Lots of great pollinator activity. It's so fun. It's so fun watching insects. So yeah, and enjoy like color changes and make sure you get out there and you're like taking pictures. So okay. And so this is how I know fall is over. And hopefully you guys are familiar. If you're not, I'm sorry, you have to look it up. The juncos arrived. So when the juncos arrived, juncos were one of the first birds that other than I did not have any good plants in my yard when I first moved in. I did not see a single butterfly in my neighborhood other than an tiger swallowtail flying way up by the trees. Not even at my house. It was ridiculous. It was how can they live like that? I don't even understand it. So anyways, juncos were one of the first ones. I left up my tentacle rod and they came and they were feeding on that. I don't know if that's a preferred thing because I haven't really seen them on it since, but maybe just because it's slim pickings in my neighborhood, then they were on it. So that was really nice. So that's my signal that, I better get everything that can't be out there in the winter packed in. All right. Okay. So then pretty much every season, you should go around and take some photos, what's in bloom. And this is just an easy way to kind of, have a record of what's happening when. So the phenology. So anyways, the other thing that you should do in fall is sketch out where your plants in the garden, especially if you've just planted some stuff. Make sure everything has a nice heavy duty tag. I like to get the little galvanized ones with the grease pens. They work for me. You gotta let them sit out in the sun a little bit, kind of soak in. But yeah, go around, sketch out where everything is, just a quick and dirty sketch. And also it's kind of everything about the garden is good for your mental health. It's it's just restoring you. So there were some years that I couldn't garden as much as I'd like to, and it made a huge difference. You need that. So go and sketch out your garden. What do I have where? You should just put a note on your calendar, a reminder on your calendar, whether you do it once a week, whether you do it once a month, or somewhere in between. Go take photos in your garden, go check things out. When you're having a stressful day, take a 5-minute walk, and let it really restore you. So in fall for sure, you can do this anytime, but all season, each season, but in fall especially, go out there and sketch out what you have where. And you're kind of like taking a mental note of things too, of like, hey, I need more, plant flowers over here. I have some room over there. Do you have your final fall plant sales? So then do this early in the fall, so then you can go out there and try to get those plants planted. The two best times to plant are spring and fall. You can plant anytime. It's just a matter of having to water and care for your plants. Fall's the best because, then it's kind of, it's done for, you don't have to worry about it drying out as much. Like some of our springs have been pretty hot. So some of the plants for fall, goldenrods, asters, and then when you're out looking, look for like, hey, where do I need more privacy? Where do I not have enough cover for my birds? So then when you have this native garden, you have all this wildlife that's coming there. So if someone comes to your house and, like, hey, I have food for you, but then there's no place to sit, there's no water, like these are important things to think about. So yeah, make sure, you're kind of looking where the birds need cover, and then you can, try to get some plants started, and there'll be easy care over fall. So another care thing for fall and spring, and I forgot to mention it, is this is birdcast.info. So birdcast.info, it's like it's a live feed of the bird migration. So you want to make sure you turn off the lights, have fresh water out, because then the birds, they're not familiar with their area. They're migrating. So have your lights out so they don't get disoriented. And then also make sure you have water out there for them. Make sure you leave in your seed heads as much as you can. Sometimes I have to take away, I need to take away some of the seed heads because I'm, gonna have more than I can manage. Or sometimes you just want to collect some seeds and give them to Jonathan. And then if you do collect seeds, there's another thing. When I don't know that they're strict about it, but I'm, had some botany courses, so I'm a little particular. It's like, make sure, where did you collect that seed from? So then like, you kind of know, like this is the local genotype, or maybe the source of those seeds. Like sometimes I'll write where the plant was from originally, like my plant was from wild type. Oh, this was already growing in my garden. So this is what I did. In my garden, I let whatever was gonna come in. I let the seed fund come in. And that is a lot of work. It's really hard. And I'm ideating new species because I went from sand to this heavy clay and lots of different plants. So anyways, lost my train of thought. So if there's like, sometimes I have to take away some of the seeds, because it's too much for me to handle. But you can save them, give them to Jonathan, but I'll like mark which plant that this was something that grew in naturally in my garden. Like my bluebird vein, love it. So, Mary Case. And then make sure you try to leave all like seed pods, or I have a black walnut tree behind my house. Yes, lots of things grow underneath it. There's spice bush growing underneath it. That trillium that I showed earlier was growing underneath it. The redwood trillium was growing underneath it. There's lots of things that grow underneath it. Starry Solomon seal, and some asters. Anyways, so black walnuts, my neighbors all rake them up, put them in a trash bin, and then send them away to the trash. I'm like, wow. Then like the squirrels must think we're the biggest jerks. Like, oh my gosh. Like that's their food. Like, why are you like throwing it away? Like you don't even walk on that grass. Like who cares? So anyways, try to like rake it to the side, rake it on the path, because it is like, okay, it's a, ankle roller. You might hit the ground trying to walk across it, but just like put it off to the side if you can. Or put it in, so like some of the seeds, like I had too many seeds, and I'll just put them in one area in the back of my yard to where like birds can go and I guess, forage. I don't know if they do. You know, but it's like manageable for me for the like the garden areas that I don't want too much chemical on going crazy. All right, so okay, so then if you're collecting seeds and just then, like if it's on your personal property, you kind of know. In general, you want to try to only collect like 10% of the seed, and you want to have like 5 or more different plants. So 10% of the seed in the area, so you're leaving the rest for the wildlife. But if it's in my home and I just can't handle more plants, then I'll take 100% seed if I need to. And some of it might go in the back corner of the yard. Some of it I'm gonna give away or save for the wild ones. Seeds so yes. But you know, and then you want to have genetic. I think a lot of people aren't really thinking about genetic diversity. So this is the thing when I'm saying like, where did you collect those seeds from? Like, no, where did I collect these seeds from? You know, some information, you know, who it is. Like sometimes, like if it's somebody like, oh, they're gonna know what that is, or maybe like their skills are still on their skills. Anyways, try to put that information, location, if you knew that plant was planted there from some other place, like wildlife, put that information on your seeds. I think that's just some people, I don't think we do. Anyways, and then try to get broad genetic diversity. So if you're taking your 10%, try to get it from 5 or more plants, you know. So you have lots of good genes. All right. So other things, so okay, so I'm saying like, you know, rake your leaves in your garden beds, you know, try to put any material, like leave the material there. But if you can't, if it's too much, if you take down a tree and your neighbors are not gonna be happy with you leaving a whole tree in place, cut up on your front lawn, then, you know, there's things that you can do. So you can make like little artistic projects. And then when I pulled in the math eye, you know, I saw that they had the fence made out of it. So then you can make a little fence or make a ring and then stick some of your leaves in there. So then, you know, the squirrel, they need to make their drain or nest in the trees. So they want to make their drain. So it's like, they have some resources. So try to either put it in one spot in your yard or, you know, do something creative and beautiful, you know. So then, sorry, ignorant slide. All right, so here's another thing. All right, so then, you know, you got your yard. If you have a tree that doesn't have like guarding out the drip line where you look up and it's like the end of the tree, like just do that. Just create that space into the tree. Like I like to leave lots of area for my dog to run around. So I do have like a lawn in the backyard, and then I have like a kind of a 4-foot path just around my driveway. So, you know, people get in and out of their cars, don't have to worry, you know, it's easy, they can step on it. But it's very important to have the trees, they're not, you know, they don't have any anoxic conditions where they have this heavy mulch. So go and check your trees. If you can't, you should be able to find where the tree is starting to flare out and remove all your mulch and sorry, got the right one. Okay, remove your mulch and then try to like push it out. Try to be gentle around the trunk. I have this as fall care. You don't want you want to be try not to damage the trunk, but you could pretty much do this anytime. The only thing is like if it's in summer, you would want to be a little more cautious. If you want to in the spring or summer, if there's going to be a lot of rain, you want to kind of be cautious about, you know, if you damaging part of it, then you don't want things to get in there. You don't want it to stay wet. So then free your flare. Show your buttress. It'll be fun. All right, so the mulch should not be touching the trunk. And the goal is to create soft landings. So the soft landing is whenever you have like, oh my God, these big, beautiful silk moss, some of these pink moss, like under my, shoot, I thought of it even and I forgot again. Evening primrose. So evening primrose. So I was creating this new area and I'm still using cardboard. I tried to like get chip drop and then I had like some issues where I was researching the cardboard to see how much could keep. Okay, so sorry, I should start with, they say, oh, you shouldn't use cardboard because it has PFAS. When I was researching it, they say it doesn't really have that much PFAS, but you know what does have more PFAS if you're gonna have cardboard? Is the packaging from your food containers. Anything that's more waxy, it has more PFAS in it. I thought, wow, that's terrible. Anyways, I was creating a new area and I do cardboard and then I slit it up to give it more oxygen flow. So I put it down, I kind of cut it and I don't overlap. I'll just come back later and take out any grass or whatever is coming through. Anyways, I found this sphinx moss pupa and it was so cool. So it was under the evening primrose. So I was able to like, okay, what plants are nearby? You know, I didn't recognize the pupa immediately, but it was a lot of fun. So, all right, so then winter's here. Oh, you get to rest and relax and enjoy it. But usually what you're doing, what are you saying? You're like, ah, I wish it was spring. I want to go garden. You know, this is terrible. So try to take the time to enjoy, like this is the time where you're like, receive the like, structure of the plant. You can enjoy like shape of the twig, the beauty of the, you know, the beauty of the tree trunk, all that good stuff. You know, maybe you could check your flare. If you had a bunch of plants growing around your tree trunk and you can really see whether your flare was exposed, and you know, go check your flare. So, you know, you get to enjoy it. Like, go take pictures of your seed heads. Like, get to know them. It's a lot of fun. And the other thing is like sometimes you'll find a little chrysalis. Yeah, or other stuff you don't want, which I brought a couple samples. So yeah. So then another thing is animal tracks. Like you will find the animal track, and they sell like these special rulers to like they have two sides. They even have like little pictures of the animal track, so you can see like, oh, who's been visiting? Oh, it was a possum. They've probably been like staying in my wonderful little, you know, they get cold in the winter, so maybe they're using my little habitat I created for them. So that's awesome. So yeah. And then if you do have a problem with rats or something like that, like, you know, I haven't really had my knee, I haven't, so they said that they had an appointment, I'm not, so this, I guess the snow is a good time to see if you have an activity. We had rats when I was growing up in Detroit, so it's like, I kind of know the signs, but I don't see anything. So yeah, I do, and I do have bird feed out, but I like only give enough to where it's like gone, like usually gone by the afternoon. And so there's nothing like left for the nocturnal, you know, rats, I guess, to come get it. When they did some work on 275, I guess they said that there was rats coming in Plymouth, but I have not seen any signs. So don't worry about that. Make your little woody artistic habitat and enjoy it. Yeah, so you can look for animal tracks, insects in the winter. You can look for chrysalids. I would find them on my like under my the bottom of the house. I find them under the bottom of the house, whatever that's called. I find them like in between my bricks, you know, in the like that little border spot. I had one that was like right by my door, so I was like, oh, like my husband, you go and turn on the porch light. I'm like, don't turn it on. Like if there's a warm day, you're gonna wake up the crystalline. Maybe I was being a little paranoid, but anyways, you could look for crystalids and stuff like that. And then if it's a nice, you know, nice warmish winter day, go to the woods. You might see a morning cloak. If you have woods by you, you might see a morning cloak. And that's another thing that's going to be relying on your like woody habitat stuff. It'll overwinter under like bark or log in a log pile. So somebody might like take out your log pile. They want to prepare for when make a fire. Gotta be careful. I like check the logs very carefully. All right. And so the juncos are returning. So I enjoy watching them. They return the end of fall. let me know, like, I gotta pick stuff up, and I enjoy watching them. So, yeah. So what brings people, when I ask people about like, oh, what are you enjoying for winter? A lot of times they're like, I'm not doing that, I'm waiting for spring. So do you guys have things that you're go out and enjoy in the winter time? You're gonna say something?
For me, but for feeders and, so I enjoy seeing the birds coming and, animal tracks, rabbits, squirrels, everything. It's just fun.
Yeah, yeah. You can bundle up and go sketch something, go take pictures. It's so beautiful. What did I hear? There's no such thing as the wrong weather. There's only the wrong clothes. So there you go. And a good pair of boots. The other thing I heard is that you should always invest in quality for anything that's between you and the ground. All right, so then another activity to do is lots of planning. So you could do a lot of, like a lot of times we buy a plant and then we go home and then we find a place to put it. Cause like you just get excited. But yeah, if you're not planning, it's so fun to do. It's such a fun winter activity is to do the planning. So you might need to go walk around your garden and, different times of the year. When I mentioned like, hey, if you're out in the fall, whatever, like you see an area that's unsightly, you want to get a plant. So this is the time. Plan something to put in that spot. If you haven't already, if you haven't bought something to put it in, do your planning. Then if you see something, if something's a little ugly, and so as a vegetable gardener, the yard looks a certain way. As a pollinator garden, it's kind of pretty. There's horticulture gardeners. In horticulture gardens, their main focus might be on aesthetics, and then they hope to get some butterflies. As native gardeners, a lot of times become native wildlife gardeners. And as native wildlife gardeners, our focus is on the pollinators. So it's like, oh, I can't move this Canada goldenrod that's in a bad spot right now because the pollinator is it, or there's, things that are, butterflies and caterpillars on it. So yes. So if you see something that's looking a little like my garden here, looking a little overgrown, I do need to redo this garden. But I love it because I love, one of my favorite plants for hummingbirds is white turtlehead. So I have a bunch of white turtleheads. So I'm sitting back here in this little corner. Turtleheads is like everywhere now. Going over here. And then this is Spirea alba, so white meadow sweet. Oh my goodness. Like I like to have some of these caterpillar plants like by a window, or I'll have my bird things back here, that's like by the window where I can see it. And that's especially important in winter. But I'll trim this down, like it's not the natural thing to do, but it makes it more functional for my yard. So this is my yard before I trimmed it down. Yeah, so things that like you might want to leave a bare patch for the bees. If you do see a bees going in and out of a nest somewhere, what I learned is don't tell my husband. If he doesn't go over there, he doesn't need to know, and he's gonna complain about it. 3 words about it. But then also just put a little fence around it and enjoy it. Don't go into the nest area because even our like more gentle bumblebees, I'll let you like pet them or whatever. Like, try not to touch them too much. They'll go after you. They're gonna protect their babies. So yeah. And so then it's a time to get creative. Oops, I didn't change slides. Okay. And so just stick a colorful chair there, stick a piece of art. Oh yeah, it did change. All right. So then, here's this like, you're just trying to get something to catch somebody's eye. So it's less, a little more hiking. So when we were moving from our house in Westland, the real estate lady said that people decide whether or not they're gonna buy your house in the first like 8 minutes. And so we didn't use our front door, but I walked in our front door And I'm like, okay, so you polish everything up, and I'm like looking around, like, what's the first thing that these people are gonna see? What's the first thing that these people are gonna see? So I walk in our door and we have like a pantry that's like open, and then there's our gray electrical box. There's a gray electrical box, and so I can't cover that up, like I don't want to, but that is one of the first things you see. So I got this, it's like a painting with this kind of orange, like a mixed media art, like where it's made papers and stuff, like a big orange robin. So when you walk in the door, that's the thing you notice, that orange, that, like you're not gonna see the electrical, ugly gray electrical box. You didn't notice that painting that I put in there. And I knew somebody, they were moving, I like said that story, and I knew somebody, they were moving from the home, and they had like chickens and chicken coop, and I guess the chickens are not as tidy as you would hope. Which chickens, lobelias are toxic to chickens, by the way. Side note. Anyways, she said she thought about my story, and she went out and she got some like orange marigolds and like stuck them around, so then somebody walked in the backyard and see like the muddy chicken poops. They're seeing the marigolds. That's the idea. So walk around your yard, and you could do this every season, really. Walk around your yard and pretend you're seeing it for the first time. If you see something that is not appealing to you, then stick something pretty, like if you don't want to put any new plants, maybe it's something you love. I love my hummingbirds visiting the white turtle head, so I'm gonna get a bigger, I want to make a bigger art piece to put in there. Just kind of things that are kind of gives it more cohesion. So right now, if you think about walking through your garden right now, how it is, like what do you want to add? Where do you want to see wildlife? Oh, if I'm looking out my windows, am I just, am I looking at nothing? Or, do I want to have like a nice, spirea alba that, I trim it like a hedge, but it's really cool to see. I saw the spring azure going over there laying eggs this past spring. It was pretty amazing. And then I couldn't find the eggs, so I couldn't find those to take a picture. All right. All right, so kind of went over this. Make a plan on paper, even if it's just a sketch. Identify the areas. Oh, and make sure you identify like where can I get rid of. So go and say what's the bare minimum of turf grass, and then put gardens for lower maintenance. You could put a big shrub and a ground cover. But yeah, it's not doing anything for you. It's not bringing any wildlife in. It's not providing cover for the birds or any of the butterflies or anyone. So I suggest I keep someone for my dog, and it's just the bare minimum. Oh, and then I hear all the time, oh, I don't have any place for plants. And when I see in your yard, it's like you have all the mulch here. Like, what do you mean you don't have any plants? Do you walk on this lawn? Why? But I'm like always mentally putting in gardens for people in my neighborhood, or like driving down the street. Even as a kid, I would go driving down the highway. I'm like, why don't they just plant ground cover? Like, why are they mowing all these lawns on the side of the highway? It didn't make any sense to me. Does anybody have any questions about anything?
Converting large section of my lawn that I share with my neighbor. You showed that diagram, 3 inches of mulch as a border.
Oh, yeah.
Lisa, questions coming inside the room. Can you repeat them for those online?
Sure. So I didn't hear the end of the question.
You showed the 3 inches of mulch as a border.
Yes.
Is that effective for say several years to keep the neighbor's grass from growing into your buildings?
You would have to do it every year. But you could do other things. So you could put, if you put like, I don't have a picture here, but if you could put like, I have these kind of like stones, but I have them deep set they're kind of like the size, the width of bricks, but a little longer, and I have them deep set in, so I can just run the mower right over them. Then that'll help keep it out a little longer, so you don't have as much to do and really define it. Or,
150 feet, so I'm trying to keep it. Works.
yeah, or if you wanna kind of like start with the garden one size and make it a little bigger every year, then you can take the rocks and then like roll it out, keep expanding. That's what my granddad used to do, like the garden kept getting closer to the house every year. When he cut it in.
Do you wait a year to plant
Um,
the grass bed
when you cut it in,
with the cardboard and
oh, so no, I did not wait a year. I'm not that patient. So that's the idea, that you would wait until things, trying to find the one that had the, I think this is just mulch. Let's continue on. Yeah, so that would be the idea, that you would wait like for a season for things to die back. What I would do is, because I'm not that patient, is I would put the cardboard down and it's like, okay, I want this graph for prairie dropseed. Prairie dropseed is a host for the cow sheep skipperling, one of the most endangered butterflies in the world. So it's like, I mean, that I've never get to see this butterfly, not in my house, but they'll think you're legacy. So anyways, I just cut holes in my cardboard as I was going to plant, and pulled up the grass around the hole, which I guess this might be a little more intensive, but I just pulled up, killed the grass around the hole, like pulled that out, and I planted my plants, and it did great. If there was any like little pieces of grass sticking out, that I don't do my cardboard, or like I don't overlap it like they say to do. I'll just go back and go get that out manually later. Just because I want the oxygen in there. I want my little sphinx pupas that are in the ground to be able to like find their way. So, yeah. But yeah, it only lasts like a season if it's just lawn. I don't know. Does anybody else have any experience